Okay.
All right. Hi, guys. This is Angela Newsom with RightLIGHT Reviews, and I am here doing an author review with Sarah Gaston. And I wanted to ask you, Sarah, to kind of help our audience get to know you a little bit better before we dive in deeper about your books. And so just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes. So, hi, I'm Sarah. I live over in Massachusetts. I have two sons. I have a baby, a 10-month-old, and a 5-year-old who I do homeschool kindergarten with. And I have two cats, and I've always loved to write. And yeah, I started about 3 years ago. Um, and I have 6 published books. And I was just recently focused on the family featured me. So that was exciting.
That's very
I just
exciting.
keep it on going, keep writing more. So
That's fantastic. Well, I want to ask you some questions about what all you're doing so everybody can get to know what you're writing about. And how did you, well, first of all, let's start with how did you come to write your first book? So was it around the time, I guess, you were expecting? Oh, no, because you said you had a 5-year-old, right? So
yes,
you decided,
yeah,
okay, I need to do something. There's not what I
right.
want out there or
I
something.
wasn't aware of that. I grew up in the church and everything, and I really wasn't aware of the gap, I feel like, that I discovered once he was 2.
Mm.
So I taught preschool for over 10 years and before I became a stay-at-home mom. And my first book is called Baby Dino Goes to Church. And it is very simple. It's about a little dinosaur because that's what he was into at the time. And the reason I wrote it was because when he was 2, he was transitioning from the nursery to the toddler Sunday school class at church. And he was just
Mm.
having a hard time. He was crying every single week. And I was like, I need to find a book to help him transition. And I looked everywhere. I looked online. I couldn't find a book about people going to church, animals going to, nothing about going to church. And so then
Interesting.
I went, it was crazy. And so then I went to a bookstore, and that's when I really had my moment because I actually shed a tear in a bookstore
Oh,
because we went over to the sad little shadow of Christian children's books, a couple Bibles, a couple books, not many choices. And my 2-year-old was begging me, can we just go over to the fun books? I don't want to be over here. I want to go to the fun books. And it hit me. I was like, I need to write a fun book about going to
mhm.
church because why not? You know? So I wrote Baby Dino Goes to Church on my phone, on my notes app. And every night in the rocking chair, we would read it until he memorized it. And then one day he said to me, Mama, can we get that book at the library? And I was
Oh,
like, well, it's not a real book yet. So I had it illustrated for him. And then I figured out how to self publish it on Amazon. And then all of a sudden, all his friends at church wanted it. People were ordering it without me even marketing it. And I
oh,
was like,
that's
oh my
great.
gosh. And then asking me if I made more. And so I decided to write more about bulldozers and things that he was into and
Mm,
just make it fun, you know? So that's how it
that's
began.
that's neat. I think you used your talents as a teacher and then as a homeschool mom, like really tapping into your kids. Because I mean, I have my oldest is 26, my youngest is 8, and so I've
Oh,
homeschooled 7 children,
oh, I didn't
and
know that.
so I know what it is, like the dinosaur stage, the car
Right,
stage, the
exactly.
horses stage, whatever it is, and finding good and decent books for them, that's really important. And being a mom's like, you know what, it's not out there, so I'm going to make it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now I want to ask you a question. You said that your books are non-cheesy. Okay,
Right.
so what do you mean by non-cheesy?
Yes. A lot of people like to ask me that. And then once I explain it, most people are like, oh my gosh, I never noticed, or that's true. My definition of non cheesy is I feel like a lot of Christian media, whether it's movies, books, can, sometimes tend to be weird or cringy or cheesy, but in the case of children's books, I feel like a lot of them can fall into the category of more for the adult. And so even when I was pregnant, I was gifted a lot of books that would make me
Mm,
cry or be like, oh, this is so sweet. It's like the trumpet sound and you were in my womb, and it's very like flowery, poetic, it's really like sweet, but the kids have no idea they glaze over and they
right.
don't understand. And so I think as he got older and I was reading these books to him and I just saw him continue to glaze over, I was so frustrated. And I was
Mm.
like, what's the point if they don't understand it? There's a disconnect, you know? And
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's why there's a place for the flowery poetic stuff because it's true and it's beautiful. And that's, I feel like, its own genre, but it's unbalanced, I feel like. And like, where's the fun that the things that they're into, you know? That,
Yes.
so
Oh,
yeah.
that's really good. And I know we have a lot of cheesy books on our bookshelves if
And
we
I do
label it like
too. And
that,
they're
right?
great, but like not all. I didn't want 100%
Yes.
of it to be, you know? And I would even read them at Sunday school to the kids. And I remember like it's the glaze over, the whole 20 of them are just like, I have no idea what's being said, you know? And so I wanted to write about stuff that they like so that and then they'd want to read it over and over and they'd actually get the lesson in their
Oh.
head, you know?
Hmm.
So
Okay, so on that subject, so and you mentioned like the toddler age. What's your most favorite thing about writing for the toddler age?
yes. So it's funny. I started, most of my books are for toddler, like 2 to 6 ish.
Mm-hmm.
And then as he's getting older, I'm starting to kind of expand, but I still love toddlerhood because I actually just did a talk with a mom's group at church about this and explained the toddler brain because they're like one of the most misunderstood age groups because their brains, it's like a 3 year period of just a pure sponge like brain where it's
Mm.
growing so rapidly. It will never grow that rapid again in their lifetime. Like that is the time. But it's also the time where they don't have any agency or they're being told what to do. They're taken over here. No, 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 you know? And it's they're overstimulated and they get names like terrible twos, terrible threes. And it's like, they're not terrible. They've got a lot going on, you know? So I think I have a heart for that group because I'm like, no, no, no. This is how we need to be patient with them. And this is how their brain works. And we should write books so that they understand, you know, in a way that they understand. So I
Mm.
guess, yeah, that's what I love the most about just kind of shedding light on like if they're tantruming and getting frustrated, it's because they're overwhelmed in their brain and we need to just learn different ways to talk to them and teach them, you know.
Do you have a book? Do you happen to have a book or have thought about doing a book about tantrums?
I have not, but that's a good idea
Yeah.
because a lot of people ask me like, you know, about that and they're like it's their brain. It's not that they're
I know,
being
yes, yes. They're just frustrated. They're learning so much, like you said, during those stages.
so
Oh.
much.
Now, one thing that is very interesting about your books that caught my eye is you add like a curriculum style to them.
Yes.
So explain a little bit more about that because that's unique and it gives parents a little bit something extra that sets your books apart.
Yes, so I love to always put in some kind of element to have the grown up and the child engage, whether that's questions at the back of the book, like Baby Dino goes to church. It'll be like, you know, why do you think we go to church? And what's your favorite part about going to church and stuff like that?
Mm.
Or things to find on every page, or little games at the back. There's choices on some pages, or discussion questions, or little like bubbles that say, you know, clap with the monster trucks as we learn, you know, X, Y, and
Mm.
Z. So I like to do little quick object lessons and stuff just to also reinforce the interaction element because I just think it's so important to read to your child, but also
Mm.
interacting with discussion questions or what's happening in the illustrations. So,
Yes. And two, I mean, some parents I know I was years and years ago when I first started being a parent, I would try to think of my own questions,
right,
sometimes moms or dads are just so frazzled or grandparents, whoever is reading the book, and they're like, they just read what's there and they don't maybe have a creative mind to go there. So you provide that for them, right?
right.
So it
Yes.
makes it a lot better. They get more out of the book. And
Yes.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
always fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have did you say 6 books?
Yes. Out right now. Yes.
6 books. Do you want to share the titles of some of those books? Just I know
Sure.
sometimes on video it doesn't come over well. I don't know if you have them there or not,
Right.
but just
Actually, there's one in front of me right now, which is this. Oh, this is Benny Bulldozer. Oh, I don't know if you can really see him. Oh, can't really see him. This is Benny Bulldozer. Oh, there he is. Benny Bulldozer Work and Pray. That's about a bulldozer who prays while he works and teaches other people how to pray, teaches the excavator and the dump truck how to pray. And then there's
Mhm.
like a sister book to that that's Daisy Dump Truck, God is with me. And she is an anxious dump truck who learns about God being with her wherever she goes, whether that's in the dark tunnel or wherever. Baby Dino Goes to Church was my first. And then I have Aussie books that are primarily choices. They're called Help Aussie Choose, a God Gives Us Choices book.
Mm,
And there's a Christmas one and just original Aussie. So,
okay.
and then my two newest ones are about a monster truck, and then Jesus makes his first appearance there too. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So, with the Aussie books about choices, what's the reasoning behind doing a choices type book?
Yeah, so that actually, I was inspired by my preschool class, I think, for that, because in all my years of teaching preschool, whenever anyone would start to drift or, couldn't get control of the kids, we would always be like, "Oh, look, what's everyone's favorite flower?" Or what's your favorite some kind of choice, and everyone's head whips around because
Mm,
they're power hungry at this age. And so a lot of people don't know, you probably know, but like when a child turns 18 months, that's when they realize that they're separate from their mother. And so all the way up to 18 months, they think they're one with their mother. They don't know they're a separate being. And so at
mhm,
18 months to like 4 or 5 is that toddler power hungry stage where they want to practice being in charge and see what happens when they do this or when they do that. And so instead of going against it, I like to make these books for like an outlet to
mm,
make choices and show everyone. And it's crazy. I really didn't even think, I mean, I love the books when I wrote them, but I've gotten so many messages from people that say, my toddler sleeps with this book. And then they wake up and they want to show me what they choose because they feel like they can be in
mm,
control. So,
mm.
yeah, so that's choices are just so good in so many ways for independence, confidence, stuff
I
like
like
that.
that. It reminds me of when you have like a toddler that wants to pick out their own clothes and you don't want them to wear pajamas. And so
Yes,
you pick ahead of time these two options and you say, choose which one. And so
right.
you kind of take that little parenting hack to books.
Yes. And then I weave like Jesus and stuff into it. I'll be like, because in the one of the first pages is like, God is in control of all weather. The weather changes, God doesn't. Let's pick our weather. And there's pictures of stormy, sunny,
Mm,
stuff like that. And they get to pick. So yeah.
I like that. I like that. You're definitely using your background in teaching with your book writing. I can see. Yes. Um,
Yeah.
so you said so your newest release is one of the Aussie books, one of your
No.
newest
So
release or what?
nope. So the Aussie Christmas and Aussie were 2 years ago, I think. But in this past February, I released 10 Faithful Monster Trucks and My Friend's Name is Jesus. And so 10 Faithful Monster Trucks is like a rhyming counting book.
Mhm.
And they go to church, they pray for people, they help their friends. And then at the end, there's a find it page and like a little counting game to play with your parents. And then My Friend's Name is Jesus is kind of my first book that goes into older territory a little bit. It's kind of more for like 3 to 10. It can
Mhm.
go, and I have a full parent's guide in the back, which I've never done before. It took me like a year, like a full parent's guide of different activities, object lessons, Bible verses, and they're all under a minute, like quick little things that you can do together in the chair while you're reading to go with each page. So that just came out.
So would some parents maybe use that as kind of like a little devotional book? Would it work for
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I had someone ask me, one of my friends asked me, like, how would I use this? Because she's like, I'm so busy. I don't know if I'm going to read. And I'm like, you can use it however you want. I know some people like to go in the back before the kid comes and sits down and breeze through and be like, okay, on that page, I'm going to ask this question. And just that's it. Pick one question, read through the book, ask that question, and that's your kind of thing. Because I go page by page in the back. Like on this page, you can do this, this, this. So, or some people like to just be like, we're going to go through the whole thing, and or like a devotional. I guess that's a good idea too. I never really thought of that, but
Yeah, I mean, if it's really short, and we know how
very
short
short.
the attention spans are, and a lot of times parents they might have a longer one for older kids, or if they're just starting out, that would be something
That's
easy
true.
to do.
Yeah.
Now, I know you have books about animals. We've talked about the trucks and the dinosaurs, but Ozzy is
He's a
not a
hedgehog.
truck or a dinosaur.
He is a hedgehog, and my 5-year-old went through a little hedgehog phase. I don't know how many kids go through that, but he is loved. People keep asking me to make a plushie, and I'm like, I don't have an Aussie plushie. But yeah.
Oh, so since Ozzy has two books, are you gonna make it into a series and have more Ozzy books?
I am. I think my toddler seems to be in charge of me with that because he's like, you need an Easter one and a fall one. I'm like, okay. So there is an Easter one in the works. Yes.
Okay. All right. And then, so what is your son into next that you haven't written about so
So
far?
he's 5.5. So he's just getting into really liking chapter books being read to him. So I have been writing chapter books now that are like kind of not middle grade, but kind of the bridge between picture books and chapter books, the very short chapter ones. And so
Oh,
I've been reading my one that I'm working on from my phone to him right now. And he's doing the same thing he did with Baby Dino. He's saying, can we get this at the library? And I'm like, oh, here we go again.
well, hey, that's good.
Yeah.
I think people don't realize what an influence kids can have on writing books, and especially
Yes.
if they're like, "Hey, mom, you know how to write books. I want to
I
book on this
know.
and that."
And now he writes his books too. And I go do author visits at schools, and it's getting harder to tell him because he says, well, can I bring my Lego book that I made and read it to the kids?
Oh no,
Like if I put Jesus in it, can I read it at the Christian school? Like,
that's
oh boy.
cute.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. So it sounds like, you have just started with all of your works, and you're keeping going, and which is really good, because a lot of times I think with Christian authors, especially if you're self-published, it's a lot harder and a lot more difficult to kind of just get a mindset of, I'm going to keep going, I'm going to keep writing, and
Yeah.
so it's an encouragement to say that, hey, you've kept on going, and now you've been focused on the family, um and you're just keep on writing, and
Yeah.
whatever inspiration your son gives you next,
Right.
there'll be new books,
Yeah.
new
It's exciting. I
series.
didn't even expect it. I thought I was going to be one and done with the church book and then couldn't stop. So,
That's good. So
yeah.
where can people find you and your products?
Yeah. So I'm in Barnes and Noble, Walmart online, Amazon, and I'm in a lot of bookstores in the South. I don't know about around here. I'm in Massachusetts. Um, but yeah, mostly Amazon or online or focus on the family's website.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So people can find you, and then do you have a Facebook page,
Oh
or
yeah, yeah.
yeah?
So under Sarah Gaston Books, it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Is
Okay.
that it? I think that might be it.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay.
Thank
So,
you.
um, I guess everybody can go and find Sarah's books, and maybe after you watch the video here, go and let us know which book would interest your child the most, or a child in your life, depending on if they're in an animal phase, dinosaur, truck phase. I'm sure you probably gotten questions from moms. Hey, can you do something a little more girly? I know the dump
It's
truck is
coming.
a girl.
Daisy Dumptruck is a bright pink truck. The girls love her, but yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. So I want to thank you so much for coming on and letting us hear more about what you're working on and what you've done, and just being an inspiration to parents to, hey, listen to kids and find books that are good to read, and don't let the trash creep into your house, and I appreciate you taking the time. And is there anything else that you would like to say in closing?
Thank you so much. No, thank you. That's great.
All right. Well, this is Angela Newsom with Right Light Reviews, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.